Hello everybody, welcome to my presentation, SIEM Rule Tuning to Develop Cyber Situational Awareness. I am Hüseyin Kararslan. I am a Senior Security Engineer at Roku. I am a DevSecOps engineer, at the same time an active responder. I love learning new cybersecurity tools, tuning them, and apply them to organizations that I work for by involving threat hunting and purple team activities. My first IT career was being a software developer. I always wanted to get into cybersecurity because this is my passion. So since I have been working for cybersecurity, I am also mentoring people from different backgrounds last 4 years. So as I said, I'm working for Roku, and what does Roku do? The best thing actually I like about Roku is its products. We have a streaming hardware. We have actually many streaming hardware. Our own operating system, streaming channel, live TV, and Roku originals. As you can see, we have a huge product base. Our security teams are working day and night to protect it for a reliable service for our customers. Our customers and their trust is very important for us. That's why we call our cybersecurity department as trust engineering. So let's start with the presentation, and we are going to talk about some concepts before diving in the real experience. So what is situational awareness? I would like to show these two models, and the common thing about these two models is the first model, situational awareness for decision making, created by Ainsley, and the second one is OODA loop, created by John Boyd. These both models had been created for combat fighter pilots. So in the combat, the fighter pilots has to make very quick decisions. So to do these decisions, they should be aware about their domain, what is happening, what's going on. They need to observe, orient, and decide, act in a continuous loop. This is same in cyber situational awareness actually. In the cyber situational awareness, when you are working for a company, I can ask this question to you. How much do you know your organization? All cybersecurity engineers, cybersecurity folks, all analysts, how much do you know your organization? Which systems are authorized for users? Which systems are not authorized? Which users can log in and how they can log into systems? What applications are allowed to do what and what they can do? So we are all security folks are evaluating all the data and giving decisions because we are the decision makers in our cybersecurity oriented organizations. And to give these decisions, we are using tools because technology and people create the cyber situational awareness together. It's like the fighter pilot, right? Fighter pilot is using a very fast plane to give decisions, also using all the data, using environment, and it's the same for us. We are also fighter pilots in our organizations. We need to give decisions and reliable decisions. So that's if we are aware what's going on, we can give very much better decisions. And rule tuning. I know most of you are doing tuning rules, right, in your detection tools. It's not only for Sumo Logic or CAC. All of the detection rules requires tuning. And if a vendor if a security vendor that is telling you, you don't need to spend time for tuning, you will know they are lying. Because all the tools require tuning, especially for false positives. Imagine no more false positive, right? It's impossible. Because all the tools they developed by security vendors comes out of the box rules. And those rules, yes, can apply many organizations, but your organization might be working in a different way. So it might not apply to your organization and your infrastructure. So there might generate lots of false positives, and these false positives become an alert fatigue for your security operations team. And if you are in like SecDevOps and there's security, you are working with SOC team, and if you are sending tons of alerts then because you deployed the tool, you are very happy, right? You deployed the tool is working, great, but you have no idea what they are dealing with. So they will close all the alerts coming from your tool, and they won't never trust that tool anymore. And that will harm your organization because that alert fatigue you create on them, they will start ignoring everything, and they will also missing true positives. So false positives are the main reason that we tune. There are other reasons, like I've been tuning UBA, SIEM, IDS, EDR, honeypot solutions. I've been using those solutions in my previous companies. I've been tuning them. When I join a company, I start tuning some tools. You know what? Because it helps me to learn and use the tool. If you start tuning, you have to read lots of documentation. You have to interact with people. Also, you meet new people. Yeah, you get some friends. You have some friends in the company because you are communicating cross-functionally, and that allows you to learn and use the tool. Also, learn the company, your people that who can help you on the go to do your job better. Save time and resources. This is the other thing. Like, what do you do in your job? I don't think all of you are like always fighting in a combat, right? You are not. You are joining Zoom meetings. You are working on projects. You are doing one-on-ones with your teammates. But these are the normal days. You just training days in like a combat fighter pilot way. Training days. But in the real combat, let's say a 0 day came, like think about Log4j. Like suddenly came, everybody's trying to find if we had Log4j or not, right? 0 day can come. Other attacks can come. There's some threat intelligence can come. And in those days, if you haven't done tuning, you spent a lot of time going through thousands of alerts, trying to find if you got exploited or not. That's why you need tuning so you can save time. If you tuned, you can find things, and when the excitement comes, instead of like butterflies in your stomach, you just relax and find the data, resolve the issues quickly. And develop cyber situational awareness. This is today's topic. How you can develop cyber situational awareness. From my experience, when you are tuning a tool, as I said, you meet people, right? You cross-functionally learn what's going on. You also understand what's going on in your organization. How do you understand? Because when you are tuning, you see, let's say an alert come, and there's an account keeps trying to log in a server, always connecting. You can think about, rule can think about this as a brute force attack. Of course, it is not. This is a business as usual. That account needs to connect that server. This is what it is in your organization. So you understand your organization. And if there are issues, I assure you, you will find configuration issues. Not all organizations are perfect. When you start tuning, you will realize configuration issues. There's maybe like some script requesting an API access to somewhere, and someone forget, like the developer left the company, but script is still learning. If you are not tuning, you cannot find that data. But if you are tuning, because that all false positive data, you can find and identify issues. And you also know your risk, because you think there is a bad thing going on, and when you communicate, that's a risk that organization already accepted. And by the way, you can differentiate your BAUs, like business as usual, from the real threats, and you can start alerting. I think that's enough concept talking. Let's walk through a real life experience. We have been using Sumo Logic almost 2 years at Roku. And last year we decided to deploy CSE and to see how it's gonna work for us. So we start with a POV, and when we deploy the tool, we saw, wow, there are 700 plus rules already created for you. That's amazing, right? But it wasn't amazing for us, because if you start to see thousands of alerts coming your way, what you are gonna do? Is something bad going on? Of course not. If you have experienced engineer, you will know that, because this is a new tool, you need to start tuning. But we didn't have enough knowledge about the tool, and we had to prove the value of our investment. So we started our process by evaluating rules. And whenever I tune a tool, I always use SIEM. So in here, Sumo Logic Continuous Intelligence Platform was very helpful to us, because we are sending all the data from CAC to Sumo. And in Sumo Logic, we can write queries to easily find the data that we need, instead of going rules one by one on the CAC, right? It applies for every rule. So we start with this query, find the high signals, and we start to document them. Documentation, you will hear me that a lot today, is very important. You will use that documentation. Maybe you will use that documentation to bring more awareness to yourself, your teammates, your organization. And we start, after documenting everything, we start rule-based tuning dashboards. So you are asking me, Rob, right now, so you are creating a dashboard for rules? Of course I am. That's the methodology I always apply, because dashboards, why the dashboards are for? Dashboards are for create a one glass of pain for yourself to understand what is going on. And as we talk about OODA loop, observe element of OODA loop is actually creating a dashboard about one single rule, because that rule created thousands of signals in your environment, and you have to find out what is going on. And this observation, as you can see, there are two dashboards. I blurred them out, but there are some data you can see. These are entities, IP addresses, usernames, host names, all those entities, also their interaction with other things. So you can create as much panel as you can, and it will depend on the rule and the signal itself. So you will see in your dashboard what is going on. You will see what is going on. You will understand patterns. Is there like a pattern about time related or account related? And you will understand why this signal is high. You will see which ones are high. You will see not all the accounts, like if it's like brute force attack, just let's give an example. Not all accounts are gonna be brute forcing. So you will find like 1, 2, and you will end up finding a configuration issue or business as usual, but this is what it is. And again, document. You had already created documentation, and start typing your findings. And if you don't know how to start, that we like from CSE and Sumo Logic, since they are together as like a same tool but different functionalities, Sumo Logic provide us signal tuning dashboards. We use them to see the rule effectiveness. You can use, if you don't know where to start, just start with out of the box signal tuning dashboards. But you still have to create your own dashboards though. We observed, we have one glass of pen, we know what's going on, we communicate with people, and we document everything. We know which rules are high, creating a high number of signals. Now it's time to create expressions to tune them. And from my experience, again, I used an UBA tool once in my previous jobs, and that tool I had very much bad experience because it requires a lot of knowledge and it's difficult to find the right place to tune and understand the tool, what's going on. And also I tuned the IDS tool. It was actually good. We call models. So I was able to tune it. But all those kind of tools, you go to one rule and create one tuning expression. At the end, yes, you tuned one rule. So what happens? That issue is not only one rule. Let's say it's in multiple rules. And this is from my experience, CSC. This was the best thing I see in actual like my rule tuning experience. You create one tuning expression, which is easy to document also, and you can apply multiple rules. That was very much better for us. And you orient, so you now oriented your rules. And it's time to monitor rule effectiveness. I keep talking dashboards, right? I assure you, you don't need to create another dashboard for you. You can either create a query. That's not like an example query on the slide. You can create your own query. Or you already create one glass of pen dashboard for rule, right? Why don't you create one time slice panel that you can use for understand if your rule is really effective? So you will say like, I already done tuning. Why I'm gonna look for rule effectiveness, right? Let me tell you something. We are human beings and we can make mistakes. And little syntax error you did in your tuning expression can cause thousands of alerts to your SOC team if you send the rule to production. So that's why make sure your rule tuning worked before sending it to production. Make sure it is effective. That's actually happened to me in one of my jobs. I was tuning the tool. I didn't know that there was a little syntax error. And I was sleeping and I learned actually our SOC team was all awake that night. So they forgave me. I'm still sorry about that, but please make sure you monitor your rule effectiveness. And we can do the last, right, in the OODA lab, observed, oriented, and we will decide and actually act. These are simple questions. Is the rule effective? If it is effective, you are good to go. If not, I didn't say this is like a one-step process. It is a continuous process. Keep it tuning. And if it doesn't work for you, let's say you already accepted the risk or the rule is not very good. I'm not saying like all the rules will be like awesome, right? So just disable it. Don't bring a lot of noise to your SOC team if it's not working, or create your own rule. So before finishing my presentation, here are 3 takeaways I will leave you folks with today. All the detection tools works best if you tune them, and all of them will require some level of tuning. And tuning will not only help you to decrease false positives, it will help you to develop cyber situational awareness You will be understanding your organization better, your organization risks. You will have also friends by cross-functional work, and this will allow you defend your organization better. Better architecture, better defensible architecture you will have. Thank you very much for listening to me today. Feel free to connect to me on LinkedIn and feel free to ask any questions that you might have.